he's got a huge opportunity here to make up a ton of ground in those points. So do you go for the win but risk throwing it away? What do you do? We're about to find out.
15 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes up on the board here for GridLife Touring Cup race number 3. Thanks for watching coverage of GridLife Midwest. It's 2022 and it's time to go racing again. Green flag flies and we're racing in GLTC. Swenson and Thorne drag racing to turn 1.
Boy, Thorne timed it beautifully, went right with Swenson, and if he can stay around the outside, Swenson has to give him that spot. It paid off. Thorne leads into turn 2.
Thorne's got him. He clears Swenson for a moment. A little bit of dust and debris kicking out in the background. Swenson crosses over Thorne now at corner exit. Thorne goes defensive on the backstretch towards turn 3.
Up into this tricky braking zone, you crest the hill, then you turn immediately, and look at Smedegaard almost getting into the back of Swenson. He got a great run up and through 3.
Over the curbs at the exit of 3, but couldn't carry the speed on corner exit. Swenson is still all over Thorne as they head into turn 5 and 6, and Kerry James in the 44 is right there as well. Matt Waldbaum rounds out the top 5 as they switch through turns 5 and 6.
Yeah, Kerry has really been impressive here this weekend. He's one of these guys that is always in contention for that top 5. And what Thorne wants to do now is try and open up a little margin and make Swenson chase him and use up the tires on that heavier Corvette. And right now, for Thorne, probably his best friend on the track might well be Smedegaard.
Look at the dancing that the Corvette's doing on the suspension as they head towards turn 10B. On the brakes, on the binders, into one of the slowest corners on the racetrack. Cars in the background making a move. I think that's Matan Rosenberg trying to get to the inside of one of the BMWs. Or no, rather, that is one of the S2. Oh, that's Jensen that was side by side with Rosenberg for a moment. So those two drag racing now. Matan's going to lose this one, unfortunately, to the LS Power. Here comes Solomon on teammate Matt Waldbaum.
Good battle between those ASM cars for that final spot in the top 5. And then it's Rosenberg holding station. And we had talked about it. It's a possibility for Rosenberg that as this race unfolds, he might be quicker
Look at this.
than others. Oh, wow. 3 abreast at the start-finish line.
Jackson Jensen down the inside, 3 wide into turn number 1. He's going to get out okay. They're going to cycle it back single file. Here's Louis Chatrup on the back of Eric Meadows. Behind them, Zach Lavoie, Andrew Rains, and more. Great battles in the mid-pack here. There's Matan Rosenberg. He lost his spot to Curley in turn 1. Curley had a big run coming and took the opportunity.
Yep, and now for Matan, it's just hustle, pressure Curley if he can, stay with him. And again, try and get that heavier car to eat those tires up a little bit to be in position. But the problem is that Meadows is chomping at the bit right behind Rosenberg right now. He's right there.
And Louis Chatrup is not too far off of the distance either, so if you start to get tangled with the driver ahead, look in the mirror. You've got 50 more behind you ready to take up the slack when they smell blood in the water. Through turn 7 and 8, Jensen now leads over Curley, but Curley is coming. Despite that setback he had in the top 10 shootout, he is closing in on the drivers in front. Same can be said for Swenson, keeping the pressure on Thorne.
And Thorne, just a beautiful job. He didn't move over so much. He massively compromised his turn into 10, but he moved over enough to dissuade Swenson from trying to get down the inside. And that's Robert Thorne's experience. He's done a lot of racing and very fast stuff for a long time, and he knows how to play the game. Now he comes into the strong suit for the BMW. It's the braking zone, and that's where he can really open things up just a little bit as we're back on board with Smedegaard. Great onboard shots here from Andy.
1, 2, 3. Thorne, Swenson, Smedegaard, Kerry James. Now add Matt Waldbaum to the top 5. 8 minutes remaining through turn 1. Thorne is really good through this section, but Swenson is keeping him honest through the entire rest of the lap. I just have to wonder, will Swenson lose the traction, the forward traction that he typically does later in the race? Will that leave him vulnerable to Andy Smedegaard behind him?
And we have 5 cars basically in that lead group. There's the 5th one, that's Waldbaum. Then a little bit of a gap back to his teammate Solomon. There is Matt Waldbaum, and he's really been, I think, a compelling story. This is his first season of door-to-door racing. Did some iRacing with the GridLife Winter Cup in the offseason to kind of get tuned up for it. But he stepped into real door-to-door racing very easily and very comfortably.
Tom O'Gorman went from 51st to 23rd in 3 laps.
Man.
That's going to be a heck of an onboard video later to watch, I'm sure. That is quite the climb. Heitkotter from about the same spot up to 37th. A good climb for him. Colton Wade up to 32nd. Look at Smedegaard dropping a tire in the dirt trying to grab some advantage.
Now you'll look for anything you can possibly get here side by side, working their way around turn 10.
That's Jorenstad and West Case. Door to door. Whoa, that's going to be a tight transition through 8 and 9.
Oh, that was out of 7, wasn't
Yes.
it? Yes. That's really close quarters racing.
Oh, man, that is tough stuff. Here comes the white BMW down the inside. West Case goes 3 wide. A touch, a slide. Jornstad gets a hit. He drops a tire in the dirt, keeps going. Huge slide. Here comes Christoph now with an advantage. Passes 1 car now. That's West Case he gets by. That was a big moment, but they all came out the other side in the right direction.
Yeah, 3 abreast into the corner and no contact. A couple of moments, but no contact. That's pretty impressive stuff. And now this battle continues here as Christoph right there's got the inside line. Can he make it work? He's there, but now it's the drag race, and I think that might go the way of Case.
Here comes O'Gorman in the background as well, past Jeff Preston. So O'Gorman's about to make himself part of this 3-horse race for about 20th place at the moment.
Wow.
Here he comes through.
What an outside move by O'Gorman. Got both of them around the outside of turn 1.
Here he comes now around the outside of Christoph. Couldn't quite keep the momentum there. West Case, Ryan Christoph, Tom O'Gorman. As it stands, there's still line astern here. 54 cars took the green. Big slide for Case. Christoph is there. O'Gorman's just going to size him up and strike when he has the opportunity.
And look for Tomo. He loves working outside moves. He knows that car will work. Here he goes.
This is for 18th place.
This is in turn 6. This is a tricky corner.
Wow.
Just loops the outside, and Christoph respectfully says, wow, that was nice. I got to give you that one. And now O'Gorman is through and will set off farther up the field.
The more work Tom does now, the less he has to do in race 4. We set race 4 from race 3 with an invert of a random number of drivers in the top quarter of the field. So that's worth considering. Here comes O'Gorman on Case now at the outside of turn 9.
And how much do you drive the invert? You hear that said a lot. You know, if you get up to 12th in a 55-car field, you maybe just park there and hope the invert helps you.
You're not going to know what it is until after you get out of the race car. But for now, O'Gorman continues his climb forward. If he could get a top 15 after starting dead last in a field of 50, that would be probably the new most impressive thing I've seen Tom do. I've seen him do a lot of impressive things.
Well, and the thing is, the choice you have to make in terms of driving the invert is the race finish more important to you or his points? You know, because if you push too hard to get up and you throw away, some points if you're up near that top 10, is it worth it to then end up starting way back in the other race if you throw it away? So, and Tom plays that long game very, very well.
Around the outside of Jornstad at the exit. Oh, he gets the door slammed on him there by Jornstad. He tried to do the outside move, but wasn't going to get it done that time.
Yeah, Jornstad is not known to be the easiest guy to pass in this paddock, and Tomo
didn't do many favors there either.
Not at all. So now, though, Tomo got him to pinch his exit out of 3, and that slowed him up enough, Jornstad up enough, that Tomo was able to just drive by.
And he grabs that spot as well, so move Tom up another position. Again, started in the very last row of the field. He is up now to 15th place,
That's
continuing
superb.
his surge forward. Half a second between the two race leaders. That is not quite as volatile as the battle we have been watching. It has been a fierce one. Look at Ryan Christoph again sliding that very tiny little CRX, chasing West Case. Behind him, Jeff Preston is side by side. And there's Bill Griffin in the mix, Joel Morrison, Scott Robertson, Dan Capaldo, and more. Tyler Starr and Nick Sarter all in the mix. There's Colton Wade. He's also had a good climb forward.
Yes, he has. He figured, he said, this car has pace. And he said, so I'm starting in the back, but I've got a fast car, and I just got to drive fast but clean and make some moves, and he's doing exactly that.
So Colton Wade again started even further back than Tomo. And I'm going to get an update on the bottom of the ticker where he has made it to 30th place. That's plus 20 for Colton Wade.
That's stunning. Yep, really good job.
There's Bill Griffin in the Turner Motorsport car, chasing Jeff Preston. Great battle here deep in the field. Running low on time, about 3 minutes remaining in this race, Greg, and we've had some phenomenal battles, but Swenson is closing in a little bit, 0.3 of a second up to Thorne. And it's about 0.6 back to Smedegaard. Here's that battle. That doesn't look quite like 0.6. I think Smedegaard gained some ground in turn 3, and here's that front pack.
I think you're absolutely right. See that little flash of the brakes there? As Swenson just needed to settle the nose to get through turn 6 well. And Thorne doing just his car that's pulled off, driver's left over there. Thorne doing just enough to keep Swenson behind him.
Didn't get a good look at who that was off track, but it's going to keep us green for now. They're off track far enough that they shouldn't be a concern. And there is some lap traffic up the road. This could bring in, that's Max Toyer. By the way, we should mention Max Toyer. He's been here on a work visa from Germany for several years, and he has to return home. And this is his final hurrah here in Grid Life for a little while. So we're going to miss you, Max, but heads up the back straightaway, goes a lap down to the race leader. Swenson pulls offline.
Max really showed some great racecraft and track awareness there, knowing who was coming up behind him, and just got out of their way, let them flow through, didn't cost anybody, maybe Smedegaard just a tick, just because Smedegaard had to shallow his exit just a bit. But nonetheless, when you get into traffic, if Swenson can stay close and Thorne ends up losing a little momentum, then the horsepower of that Corvette could pay some big dividends here. But Thorne not one prone to making a lot of mistakes and losing momentum much.
Thorne, Swenson, Smedegaard still 1, 2, and 3. They've been in lockstep like this since the drop of the green flag. Thorne has not made a mistake yet, and that's why he's still leading. A little bit of a mistake, maybe turning in touch late, but he got down to the apex there and salvaged it. But it's a long ways back to Kerry James, so I think it's really going to be a 3-horse race for first place.
I think so. These guys have broken clear enough with the time remaining. All right, here's turn 6. It's where being a little agile like that BMW, you can see gains right at the exit point until that Corvette gets on the power just a bit. Thorne float. He's willing. He takes it way outside. Now here's that arc in we're talking about. Keep it to the right a little bit. Now flow, catch that apex curb, and just let her fly right here.
Into turn 10B now. Thorne, Swenson on the brakes, has a look, makes Thorne look up in the mirrors for a moment. It's only half a car length between the front two. 42 seconds remaining in theory here as we come up to what should be our white flag lap. Again, not set times here in this race, nor set distance, just rough approximations before the white flag gets thrown. And into turn 11, look at the gap that Thorne pulls on the straightaway. Look at how much, oh wow, Smedegaard locked up. He locked up trying to get to the back of the Corvette of Swenson.
Well, I think right now Thorne is managing this. White flag flies, and Thorne is managing this race masterfully at this stage. And you know what? The way that you can null out somebody who's got better top end is if you overslow them into the turn, and then you've got a nimble car that will accelerate well and get through that corner. And I think Thorne is employing that to absolute perfection.
White flag lap, final go here in GLTC race number 3. This is the last time around in the third race of the day.
Ooh,
big slide for Swenson, and Smedegaard is all over trying to pounce on the mistake.
And Swenson doing exactly what he had to do when he made the save. He just finished by placing that car right where Smedegaard was thinking about making a move.
Big bobble there for Smedegaard trying to reel in the number 30, but didn't get a great run through turn number 6.
Yeah, he ate a lot of curb, didn't he?
Yeah, a little too much probably. There's David Rudzinski up the road, so some lap traffic to navigate for Robert Thorne. Swenson trying to salvage what he can. He hasn't yet tasted victory this weekend. It's been all ASM so far between O'Gorman and Smedegaard, but Thorne now for ASM and Shaky Dog trying to steal one in the BMW.
And it's interesting, you know, when you manage a race like Thorne has, you don't necessarily show the guys that are chasing you everything you've got. And he may have done that beautifully and said, nope, believe it or not, guys, I got a little bit more left here. And on this last lap, look at the margin he's been able to open up.
Now, for second, that's where the battle's going to be. Andy Smedegaard fully in the slipstream of Jeremy Swenson. Corvette versus S2000. This is the Corvette's wheelhouse here. These long straightaways into the braking zone. Final corner for Robert Thorne. This season, his first runs in GLTC. Grid Life Midwest Race 3, though, for Robert Thorne will be his first victory in Grid Life Touring Cup. Robert Thorne wins at GingerMan Raceway. Swenson second, Andy Smedegaard third, Kerry James and Matt Waldbaum fourth and fifth.
Boy, what a race for Robert Thorne. And have to mention for Waldbaum, that's his second straight fifth now. He is right in the mix. Oh, we've got an incident here.
That is the 9 Lives Racing and Myriad Motorsports car, Joel Morrison and Bill Griffin. And I see a couple fender pieces popped off in off track. They're off to driver's left. So those two cars have had a bit of a coming together. And I have to wonder if this maybe started with Morrison spinning and Bill not being able to escape the area there. But there is some passenger side impact there as we are coming to the checkers now. So the GingerMan safety crew will be able to go out and attend. You see Bill moving around in there and Joel Morrison as well. So that's great to see, but unfortunate to see those two cars tangled.
Really is. I mean, it had been such a a clean race. You had close quarters racing, but no contact. In I think your speculation, just from the way the cars are sitting, would be right. That maybe Joel had a moment and Bill could not avoid him, and they're just stopped. They probably both stalled trying to avoid the contact. So, but once again, just a superb run up front. Jensen right there in 8th. Curley, I would have thought he would have maybe had something for Solomon and Waldbaum. Just couldn't quite get up there and do anything with it. And how about this for Louis Chatroop? We talked about he has very special, unique, let's put it that way, memories of this place. And to bring it home in the top 10, once again, I think it's going to be very, very special for Louis.